when we have nominated them as SEC.
Every party has been represented in Uganda's parliament for 10 years. We only
by one MP, you yourself
and my daughter, Susan.
Every Friday 9 p.m. it's One-on-One with Michael Jordan Lukomwa on UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256 GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Tawakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3 GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months. So you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Tecno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
This is Chilling. Don't miss a brand new season of Chilling on UBC TV.
This weekend, Youth of Purpose.
I am very delighted to be on this program of Youth of Purpose, and I believe that we as the youth, we have a very pivotal role in making sure that we shape our society.
Who is an environmentalist?
Well, an environmentalist is a person that protects the environment, stands out to fight for the environment, stands out to advocate for any factor affecting the environment.
The vehicles that we drive, you know, it's very pleasurable for every one of us to have a vehicle. But then we don't consider the fact that these vehicles, they burn fuel. And this fuel is made up of carbon. And this carbon forms carbon dioxide.
People can still participate in agriculture in a sustainable manner.
Youth of Purpose.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, under the auspices of the East African Community, will host the 10th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2023 from the 9th to the 11th of May 2023 at the Kampala Serena Hotel in Uganda. Take full advantage of the investment opportunities in the East African region's vibrant oil and gas sector. To find out more on how to sponsor, exhibit, or attend the 10th EAPCE 23, visit www.eapce23.eac.int.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
She is the future of Uganda. And as a policy maker, the policies I enact today will protect her from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. Because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for joining us here on UBC TV, where we live to inspire. 11 minutes past 8 a.m. It's the 4th of May 2023, Thursday, or a throwback Thursday at that. My name is Philomena Masco. Very happy to be here with my wonderful guest this Thursday morning. I don't know whether I should call you a guest at this point. I think you're going to be part of the family. Well, this morning we're very happy to have Simon Kasiate, the spokesman for Kampala Capital City Authority. And I'm happy. I'm very happy, and I'm sure you're also happy to be here.
You're one of the many happy citizens of this Kampala.
Why shouldn't I be happy, Simon?
The rains are here. The sun is shining now so ferociously. You can't believe it was raining all night.
Exactly, and we're alive. We're really alive.
Absolutely.
I think that's the most important thing to celebrate. But this morning, our discussion looking at Kampala, and when it comes to development and maintenance of infrastructure, how are we faring? Well, that is going to be guiding our discussion this morning. And of course, like always, I do encourage you to partake in it using our social media platforms. You could choose to go for Twitter, and the hashtag is UBCGMU, and our WhatsApp number is also quite open for you to share your thoughts and opinions and give us your 2 cents when it comes to maintenance of Kampala's infrastructure. Number is 0709 602 592. Now, Simon, here there are certain things I would love for us to discuss, and you take us through. Number one, of course, we will have to talk about the roads, because we really want to know how far are we on that project. We really want to know where we are at right now. But also, number two, this week we have been talking about waste management around Kampala and trash, and considering that His Excellency came out to give a directive, and I'm pretty sure you're well aware of that. Why is it happening? What is failing us? What are we doing, to address that challenge as well? We would really, really love to know about that. So those are some of the issues that we're going to talk about, but also the non-motorized roads, Simon. These roads, different businesses going down there.
I know.
Yes, and for what ideally they should be doing by default, I believe it's not what is being done. But before we get into all of that, I just really love to know, I think we could just take it from the roads. How are we doing on that project? After we complained, the last time I had you here, we were talking about the state of our roads, and you were telling us, giving us promises.
I was promising you.
Yes, I was very optimistic.
Here to share with you.
Yes, and I told you the next time you're here, we are going to pick up from where we stopped. So
there's a beautiful song that has lyrics that go like, God bless the broken road that led me back to you. So,
oh, well, here you are.
Broken road leading me back to you. We just coming in from a huge public cry and hue on social media and other platforms, where Kampala citizens and those who just commit through it just could not take the state of our roads.
Yes.
So what we did as an authority was not to act dismissive of the reality on the ground as we see it. We capitulated as we should, because we know the state of our roads perhaps more than anyone, not because we don't live here, but because ours is to fix what gets broken in here. We, by December last year, had carried our usual regular routine surveys and realized we had close to 30,000 square meters of potholes in this city. Now, 30,000 square meters of potholes on a 2,100 kilometer network of roads in a city is a dire state. But that's just the surface area of the potholed roads. That's not to talk about the depth of some of them and how debilitating they can be on our lives. And we were shackled by one thing. Let's even call them 3 things. 1, money. 2, money. 3,
monies.
And while we were going through the shackles of how do we get financing, many things happened, including and not limited to the fact that His Excellency the President did hear us out and directed the Ministry of Finance to release some 6 billion shillings to particularly handle the minor repairs on the disturbingly bad potholes within our city. Now, KCCA does repair its road infrastructure in 3 kind of tiers. Tier 1 are the small little potholes you find on a normal boulevard that can easily be fixed by you know, a little pumping in of maram and a layer of asphalt, and we are good. And that's usually done by our in-house roads maintenance units that are domiciled at our respective 5 divisions: Central, Nakawa, Kawempe, Machinji. The other one is what?
Oh, well,
So at each of these divisions, we have a maintenance team for roads.
Okay.
And so they carry out this routine maintenance. So all they need is just materials and fuel, and they do that because they are paid to do that. Then we have sections of roads that normally are so bad that you require to scrape off the entire section of what's left of the asphalt for you then to just build it afresh. I'll give you a case in point. There's a road right outside Kampala Parent School called Sadler Way. That was really problematic, and so you could see it was pothole upon pothole.
Yes.
There was little left of what used to be done.
And they were very, very
If you go to our friends here, Housing Finance Bank in Kololo, what's now regarded as Lower Kololo Terrace, that road also had a similar situation. So what we do then, we get local contractors, the Ugandan companies that we have on our roll, and ask them to come, and the engineers call it scralify, remove an entire section.
Scralify. Okay.
Then turn the road into maram, and then apply a layer of asphalt. Now that's what we call sectional repairs. The third tier is where you find the road has lived way past its sell-by date. Old Port Bell Road, Salama Road, the industrial area roads of 5th Street, 6th Street, 7th Street, 8th Street, and what's left of them. Now those require complete overhaul. And like I told you the last time I was here, we have a new project in town financed by the African Development Bank.
Yes.
288 million
Because
US
that
dollars.
is what actually very many Ugandans know. Yes, they are heavily relying on that
We're
one.
going to now rebuild these roads, make them bigger, and in fact even increase their functionality by way of creating bigger drainages that are covered, furnishing them with street lights, signalizing the major junctions on those roads without roundabouts, and just bitara and much more. Now that I told you, works began in February. When I said works began in February, I said those include mobilization.
Yes.
Which includes, the contractors hiring local
How long
staff.
does this mobilization take?
Give and take 2 to 3 months, but I'm happy to inform you that on some lots, because there are 5 lots of them.
Okay.
Now, lot 1, we've seen works, physical works that you'd want to see. I wish I could have shared with you.
I mean, the physical work, it's...
on Kabega Road,
yes,
for example, in Zambia, if you go behind the American Embassy, there's a road called Kabega Road, close to 2 kilometers, being sorted out, drainage being done, physical works going on. Old Mubende Road, being worked on from the side of Busega, coming forward to Lunguja end. Those who live in Port Bell, Luzira, Chitintare, and use the Nakawa Business Park, MUBS stretch of Port Bell Road, you know for sure, and I'm sure they are watching this morning and can testify that they have seen works going on physically. The moving of utility lines like electricity and water, the felling down of trees that are close to where the road surface is, the demobilization of some sections, and earthworks actually going on.
Okay.
And many other places now, 5th Street, 6th Street, 7th Street, the contractor is also on site, but he is yet to carry out those physical works that cause disruption.
So I want to
So there's
understand,
quite a
yes.
lot of movement going
Well,
on.
we are dealing with 2 budgets here. We do have the 6 billion that was asked by His Excellency to
Which, by the
release.
way, is already working. If
It's already working.
If you go to these little boulevards within our respective divisions, and I've shared with your producer some of the pictures, if you may please share them on the screens for our viewers to see, that our division teams are actually working and patching up a few potholes wherever they are in the available circumstances. Of course, you also know that we're being hampered by the weather. Philemona, I'm sure that you had other plans last night, but then the rain came in and we didn't possibly expect it. So we do some works and the rains destabilize it, but that's not making us relent on our efforts. So there's work going on in that front where we're going to utilize the 6 billion and some little more that has since come in from the Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it's already ongoing.
Yes, it is.
The project from ADB, the money is coming in from ADB, but we already have also this going on. So we have to be a little bit patient.
No, not even just be patient.
Yes.
You also have to brace yourself for great disruption.
I mean, that one
There's
we
going
already...
to be great disruption in this city. If, for example, you're on Ginger Road, you know that, for example, we have another project going on, the signalization of 21 junctions around this city by the Japanese. Konoike is a company that's working on all the junctions, and we're starting with the Nakawa Spear Motors junction. If you go there right now, you'll see works going on, and it's going to get worse.
Yesterday there was a bit of heavy traffic I noticed on Kampala Road, and they were already filling potholes as you're approaching, I think, a bit Church House, around that area.
Now so that's our central division
yes,
team.
Yes, I did notice that. So we are waiting. We are very patient. But now waste management. This one has become a very problematic issue, Simon. I don't know what's going on. And yesterday we were having a conversation. Why did we have to have His Excellency come out to, you know, point out that he's made an observation, making an observation, meaning that the man has been seeing these things. Does it have to get to the point where His Excellency has to give a directive? What is the authority doing about this waste management around Kampala? Where has it gone wrong? For him to come out with a directive that we need to have these garbage collection points in every urban city.
He actually mentions 200 meters.
Yes.
A space of every 200 meters.
But what's the challenge?
Now we're still discussing the modalities of having 200 meters of a garbage skip. Just close your eyes and imagine the length of 2 football pitches, a garbage skip. And a garbage skip means that big chipipa that you dump there.
Every 200 meters, yes.
Now, let me tell you something. At City Hall, what we have are plans and strategic actions on paper, waiting for financing to actuate them. Our Directorate of Public Health and Environment, just for you to know, and this TV covered it, less than 2 months ago, we launched 10 garbage collection trucks and sent them out to the divisions, 2 per division. They were adding themselves to what we already have as 12. So in total, Kampala, the whole district of Kampala, has 22 garbage collection trucks. This is a city of 99 parishes. According to our strategic plan, the plan is to have 1 garbage collection truck per parish. There are 99 parishes, we have 22 garbage collection trucks. So we are lacking 77 garbage collection trucks. What's stopping us from elevating our desire from the available 22 to 77? The other 3 things: money, money, money. And we are glad that for all that we have been telling government, government has begun to realize, and from the highest level, to say you cannot neglect this city. Neglecting a city that contributes close to 70% of the country's GDP in terms of collection. We meet and exceed our revenue collection targets as KCCA because we are a revenue collecting agency. Did you know? We collect property rates, we collect trading licenses, and all the other taxes around businesses within our city. But we collect all this money and send it to the big basket that is run called the Consolidated Fund. When we ask for financing to allow us carry out activities to manage this city, we are given trinkets. So we're glad.
Currently, what's the budget that you're dealing with for your operations as KCCA?
I wouldn't really want to put the figures to it, but one thing is for sure, we get less than 30% of what we ask every financial year. So much so that I will not speak for my own
What
docket.
would be the ideal budget that you
Let me just paint for you
Yes.
a picture that's very close to my heart, just for you to understand what we are dealing with. My budget for public affairs, communication, sustainability, and everything that I do as public and corporate affairs is usually a paltry 500 million shillings for a year.
Okay.
The good people at Ministry of Finance, and I'm not here really to complain, but just to paint for you a picture in reality, did say that their projections for what we've asked, they may want to reduce this budget by 400 million. Your budget is 500 million. They want to reduce it by 400 million and expect you to carry out activities that you had planned with 500 million. So you are expecting someone to collect garbage that to be taken by 99 garbage collection trucks, but you can only afford them 22 garbage collection trucks. That can only be done by the other gentleman who had 5, I think he had 5 loaves and 2 fish, fed thousands. They actually mentioned 5,000, and there was balance
the
of
5 loaves and the 2 fishes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I don't think KCCA, however competent we are, we've reached that level where we are able to transform water into wine. So realistically, unless this authority is financed, shall then anyone have the wherewithal to ask us what we have done? What we show you, sometimes the pothole riddled roads, the uncollected garbage and all, is a consequence of how much you've given us in terms of our ability to do our work. But away from that, now let's take it to personal responsibility, Philomena.
Yes.
As a usual citizen, how is your garbage disposal habit as an individual? Look around us. We are the same guys that pick garbage from our houses and just dump them in drainages right outside our homes.
In the roads as early as about 5 a.m.
And you would imagine the people who throw them there are the poorest of the poor. They come carry them on their heads. No, I have seen guys park a beautiful car, open the boot, and pick out a sack of rubbish and dump it by the roadside. In other words, we are living like barbarians, but expect services in a city coming in from a first world metropolis. So it may have to start with us. How are you managing garbage disposal at your own home? So that by the time the city authority comes in, incompetent as you want to term it, they find you a bit organized. So that alone is a concern, that while the citizens have a right to demand for better services, I think as a city authority, we also have a bit of a responsibility to sensitize the public to behave and live responsibly.
Okay.
The moment you don't live responsibly, you make it difficult for city authorities that even if we had a garbage collection truck per parish, but you dispose of your garbage in that wanton manner, we may only do so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
but yes, again, to conclude on the president's directive, we are studying it in terms of the feasibility of it.
Yes.
And also remember, these garbage skips are not going to be hanging in space. They will have to be located at some locale. So we're trying to map out our city, find locations where we can, as we wait for the financing for which, because you see...
because I did see, again, one of the biggest challenges, I did see some people from KCCA asking that we would really need funds to also sort that issue. If we are going to make sure that the directive is really implemented, we're going to need extra money.
Absolutely.
And again, I saw KCCA asking for an increment in the budget. I think it's just about 500 billion Ugandan shillings. So what happens if you don't get that increment?
We cut our coat according to our cloth. Like I said, we are very competent as an authority, but we have not yet reached the level where we are able to feed 5,000 men, excluding women and children, with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread.
Well, while we are still at it, the dream here is to have an urban city, a smart city.
Without a doubt.
Yes, and there are certain things I believe we have tried to do, even you as an authority. I mean, it can't be all bad, it can't be negative. I know for a fact that we did come up with one of the few things, non-motorized roads. And we're talking about this, Simon. I don't know if it really needs money to have these roads be used for what they're supposed to, because I don't know the last time you were downtown there.
I'm always there.
Yes, but if you see what is being used or what is being done in these non-motorized lanes, it's absolutely, I don't think that was the intention that KCCA had. Why is it continuing?
It goes back to what I told you earlier on, Philomena, our personal disposition as citizens, Banachibuga. How do we behave? We behave, the village never left many of us, and we are in this city with our village. It is a clearly demarcated non-motorized transport way that it's not supposed to have any motorized mode of transport and all. But what are we doing? We are washing plates from an arcade and come with water and pouring it there. The arcade must have its own drainage and systems.
And there are people who are supposed to ensure that that is actually happening. If the arcade doesn't have these,
Philomena, I'm
because
simply,
the people will still pour that water.
No. Let us not cut our people the slack of personal responsibility. How come we don't see them defecating in their sitting rooms? And I'm sorry to use such words if people are having breakfast this morning and listening to it, but that's how disgusting it gets.
We apologize.
I mean, you are living in a city.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have to speak hard to ourselves. Why do you wash clothes in an arcade and come and lay them to dry because you're waiting for Kasiate to come with his enforcement officers to beat you not to pour porridge water from utensils that you've just cooked. And the moment KCC enforcement officers do that, which they do usually, the first thing you run to, you become a human rights activist on social media. Ha ha! KCC enforcement are using a hammer to kill a fly. Imagine they are brutalizing. Look, no motors. I know that, like, my mother used to say, I know for you to get started, you need to be kicked like a motorcycle. So let us accept as citizens that we are the kind of people that for us to do something reasonable, we need to be kicked. So when our enforcement comes in, kicks in, that's what you see. So we are struggling with mindset change. We're struggling to sensitize people to say, look, these non-motorized transport ways are for the aesthetics of the city, for it to look beautiful, so that you and I can feel happy. That when you're walking, going down to Rome Street, you've reached Avema and you're tired, you want to go down to Mini Price.
Yes.
You can sit, relax, enjoy the air.
But because they are there, we have seen them. KCCA has much done that.
Right outside here, you'll get round the corner opposite Parliament. Characters came and stole a manhole cover. Manhole cover. Next to opposite Parliament and UBC, which is an area we expect to be fortified with security.
Yes.
Who stole it? They certainly was not
Security
it was not an alien from our neighboring
everything,
countries.
yes.
It was a Kampala person that steals manhole covers, that vandalizes street lights, that steals railings and the like. A person who behaves like that will not appreciate a non-motorized transport way. But nonetheless, as KCCA, we provide this furniture, we will educate people, and we will say honestly, do you want us to employ an enforcement officer per shop in an arcade so that the shop owners stop pouring water there?
Of course,
so
that is not
applicable. So Philomena, this I'm putting it back to you. I'm sorry, I'm going to challenge you to this. You're the lady with the platform. People listen to you every morning. They watch you. Do us a favor, and yourself a favor, and your children a favor, and every morning, speak to us and teach us to live like citizens.
We actually do that, Simon.
Oh, I thank you very much.
We really do that because we cannot leave the responsibility.
Why can't KCCA become like the London Metropolitan? Why can't they become like New York? Then you ask the guy speaking, do you behave like a New Yorker? You're behaving like a villager from Bugangari, where I come from, and you're demanding for New York services in Kampala. It is the collective sum of our bad manners and barbarism that reflects in how our city is. And guess what? Imagine if I, Kasiate, were behaving as a barbarian.
Yes.
But for some stroke of luck and education, I happen to be at KCCA as a director. You think my barbarism will stop? Certainly not. So what you see manifesting at bigger level is the collective sum of the small little bad manners that we have. Philomena, it comes down to personal conduct. When you see people jumping queues,
yes,
throwing you off the road because they have sirens, these are people that should know better, that should wake up and that should lead by example. It tells you something about their own personal native need. That if you removed everything from them, the titles and all that, they will certainly be beneath human. So if we must live in a city that we are proud to live in, the smart city that my executive director, Madame Dorothy Saka, continues to talk about, dream about, and chaperone us into achieving, there must be one thing that ought to change. First and foremost, before anything else, our mindsets. That we must leverage technology, using the available infrastructure for our well-being as people.
Well, we're talking about development and maintenance of infrastructure here in Kampala, of course, Simon taking us through. But in all of this, here's one thing.
I'm sounding like a preacher, eh?
Well, I guess we could say that. But is there a possibility of KCCA as an authority? Because, I mean, yes, it's a government body, and you have to rely on government for the most part of it, especially when it comes to sourcing funds and everything in that bracket. But is there a possibility of KCCA probably getting into partnerships with private entities? Yes. And if yes, are you doing that already? Because I want to believe it could be a solution because government really is handling quite lots of things right now. Every ministry wants attention from government, especially financially. Every department, every agency.
And every district.
Every district. Everybody, I mean, everyone wants the money from government. Yes, we the government workers want the money. But is there a way that KCCA as an authority is trying to mobilize funds probably from, you know, these other partnerships?
We are not only just trying to mobilize funds from different partnerships, but we are creating strategic partnerships that are mutually reinforcing.
Okay.
For example, partnering with, say, a commercial bank to say, we'll give you this green space for you to maintain, to keep, so that it reduces on the amount that KCCA would otherwise use for its maintenance and the like, and we give you branding rights and all of a sudden, and things of that nature. You know, there was this wonderful space right outside Watoto, a beautiful fountain and all that, that was built in partnership with the private sector. Go back there and see how the Banachibuga vandalized it and stole everything, including switches, switch gangs. So it's a partnership that we are not relenting on, because we recognize that our resource envelope is really constrained and gets more constrained by the day, especially in light of how our economy is standing. But the private sector has been kind enough to say, look, we're operating in this town, We have our head offices in this town. We have the bulk of our customers in this town. We ought to make this town livable and beautiful for all of us. So we're having a number of engagements, details of which I may not be at liberty to go into right now.
Okay.
But what's for sure is that our executive director is leading greatly in ensuring that we expand our revenue streams in terms of leveraging partnerships with the different organizations, state and non-state actors, to pay for certain services that would otherwise constrain us to pay for. I'll give you an example, Philomena. This week, from the 1st to tomorrow, is World Air Quality Awareness Week.
Yes.
Now, many Ugandans are grappling with the issue of potholes because that's what bangs them and they feel physically. But there is a silent killer that is going to affect all of us without segregation, whether you are in a bulletproof car or you're out on a border, and that's the quality of the air we breathe. So we're partnering with international organizations, philanthropies like Bloomberg and Vital Strategies and others, working with research institutions and academic institutions like Makerere University to say, are we able to monitor our air quality and identify exactly what pollutant, what is it that pollutes our air in Kampala? Is it our garbage? Is it our very old cars?
Vehicles, yes.
Japanese piece of ironmongering that for the most part are not capable of moving themselves? Is it the plants around us? Is it our mannerisms of sweeping and pouring the dust out there? So that we then know what mitigations ought to be done. But KCCA cannot finance this kind of studies, may not be able to buy this kind of equipment, like air quality monitoring equipment is very expensive. But I have good news for you, that this city has over 100 air quality monitors, 25 of which belong to KCCA, and these were still a grant from our development partners. And we are partnering with different agencies, including the American government and all the others, to ensure that we monitor that and then carry out interventions that are specific, because we are concerned about the health and well-being of our people in the days to come. Air is one source of the carcinogens that we have that cause cancer. Air quality will cause all sorts of ailments, and obviously a sick population cannot be a wealthy population because it can't work. So there are areas where our partnerships are not just about putting in place good infrastructure or making the city look better in terms of aesthetics, but also life-saving, as I've clearly demonstrated.
Oh, okay. Well, just one question here from a gentleman, Chigwe Livingstone from Kajansi, and he says changing Kampala's city infrastructure to the better part is hindered by two agents. Number one, politics between elected leaders and the technical bit or administrators. And he says, why would you find councillors pulling ropes with technical people? And in most cases, you realize that councillors with their ignorance will oppose good projects of the city. Kindly please have Simon talk about the politicizing of KCCA as an authority.
Mr. Chigwe makes a very valid observation from where he sits, and I don't think it will be in Simon's place to really discuss the merits or demerits of his observation, because what we see pervading at KCCA is a creation of the law. The Kampala Capital City Authority Act does present us with elected leadership. You won't believe it, the elected leadership or political leadership that runs this city, from 2 ministers down to a Lord Mayor to the 5 division mayors, each one of them with their respective councils, going down up to parish level. We have close to 500 political leaders in this city, from parish level up to the top. On the other hand, we've got the technical side, who is ourselves. Both that dichotomy was created by the law. So if the law envisages it like that,
isn't there a common ground? Like, because I think what he's trying to say is that there's been constant pulling and pushing between the political bit of the authority and the technical bit, and he, just like very many people, do believe that this is hindering, especially when it comes to execution of some of these responsibilities. You could find that the technical bit really has a plan laid out, and we want to execute this and that, but then we can't go beyond certain gates.
But also the political side has an oversight role. They are there to carry out oversight. Otherwise, if you leave us to our lawyers as technical people, who knows, we could end up in a place that you wouldn't want to wish for this city. So I would want to say it is not really a very antagonistic state of affairs for us to be unable to deliver services. There may be some slacks here and there, as is the case with the nature. Even in nature, there is friction and for hard surfaces, on hard surfaces, and what we call viscous drag for fluids. So that's the way nature is created, to create checks and balances. Our ability as an authority to deliver to the expectations of our people and our nation, in spite of these contradictions that may appear in the back end, is what makes us tick. Philomena, in every kitchen there are eggs being broken, meat being sliced, vegetables being chopped, things being banged, glasses being broken. But at the end of the day, the guy at the table expects to find a meal served to pristine condition.
Okay. Simon, as we're concluding this, talk to a Ugandan out there who feels KCCA as an authority is not doing its job.
I'll tell you what, that Ugandan is way within their faculty to believe that KCCA is not doing their very good, they're not doing a very good job. And it's within their right to, in fact, judge us to the highest condition or to the highest standard that they possibly feel. One, because of the following reasons. They pay taxes and expect service delivery. They live in a country which promises them security of not just themselves but also their property. They live in a country that is supposed to offer them basic social services. But I want to ask them to be very specific and not to use a wide paintbrush to judge KCCA against a little manifestation of inability to deliver to that person's desires. We run 78 UPE schools in this city, did you know? 22 USE schools. We have 8 health centers. Kisenyi Health Center has, for the last 3 years, been ranked as the best health center in this country. In spite of our challenges in financing and all the other, we are running other different services. We are collecting revenue for this country, meeting and exceeding our targets by 110%. We are fixing infrastructure with the amount of money that we have been given. Never mind the fact that there are other very incredible roads in this town. I mean, someone moves on a beautiful road for 20 kilometers, hits a pothole for 500 meters, and then goes to post. The whole of Kampala has a pothole. And so at the end of the day, while we appreciate that there is a lot of work that KCCA ought to do to satisfy our customers, but we also understand that, and you call it a Uganda, no, call them a citizen, Munachibuga. Philomena, if the basic breakfast meal for a Ugandan is dry tea and cassava, for a Muna Kampala, you must give them bread and milk tea.
Yes.
The day you give a Muna Kampala, the day you give them bread and milk tea, the Muna Kampala will say, no, add some butter. The day you add butter to the bread, they'll say, no, we need some omelette and eggs.
So
wait a minute.
Muna Kampala is insatiable. We have insatiable needs.
And it's not only typical to Muna Kampala.
Yes.
The same applies to Londoners, the same applies to New Yorkers, the same applies to Berliners. Every metropolis, urban metropolis, their aspirations are really high because of the level of exposure and expectation, depending on how much they also give their state. So the moment you give fried egg, toast, and milk tea to a Kampalan for breakfast, they will demand for oysters.
Yes.
So as KCC, we are aware of this shifting of goalposts and the insatiable desires for better, and that's why we have a strategic plan that spans over the years, and when it's concluding, we also add and think more. So we will not stop. We will try as much as we can to deliver the expectations of Kampalans on the premise of how much money we are able to use to deliver these services.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by and giving us that overview.
Stopping to talk, because I think I started going down here.
No, but I mean, it's very important because I think for us, for the Ugandan citizens to know the progress on how we are faring, I think it's very key. And for making the time to come and tell us, I am pretty sure we shall be back here sometime in the future, and I want to believe that this will all be in the past. We'll be dealing with different issues. I have been to all.
I need to take you there for a walk. I think you need to appreciate the works on the ground. So when do we go?
We'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk. Well, we'll leave it at that, but we have sports updates coming in from Ruben Mpima, Chividango, and much later on, Molen Kenyana will be joining you for the GMU Extra. Well, have a wonderful and productive Thursday. I will see you here tomorrow. Good morning. I am Philomena Masco.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, under the auspices of the East African Community, will host the 10th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition.